So it's amazing time for Hodgkin lymphoma and how things changed over the last 2 decades. And up to 2 decades ago, the standard of care remained the same, ABVD, combination chemotherapy, which is the most widely used regimen around the world. There's, of course, different variations. And it cures quite a good number of patients. And if you take 100 patients with Hodgkin lymphomas, you can cure about 75–80% of the patients. So it's a very highly curable cancer with a standard chemotherapy. And most people thought, why should we bother, right? It's a curable, rare disease. Let's focus on the big diseases that more of unmet medical need. What happened over the last really 10 years, 2 major drugs were identified that changing the landscape. And that's what the talk is all about. One is an antibody-drug conjugate, which is a Brentuximab vedotin, that targets CD30, which is the receptor that identifies the cancer cells of Hodgkin lymphoma. Discovered almost 30 years ago. Now we have a drug that we can target that receptor. And the second one, which was identified mainly a few years ago, which is immune checkpoint inhibitors, the antibodies that target PD-1. Each one of them can produce as single agent in multiply relapsed patients about 70% response rate, which is amazing. And in both agents or drugs don't have overlapping toxicities, so you can combine both of them at full doses without need for reducing. Never happened in oncology before, and that's why everybody's excited about this. We have new sort of momentum of combining highly active single agents at full doses that are not chemotherapy based, and what will come out of it, and we'll see what will come out of it next decade or so. But I'm sure that the standard of care will change based on these new agents. The goal is not just to come up with something new because it's new. It has to add value for sure, because remember, most of these agents are also very expensive. Chemotherapy is relatively cheap. So yes, they have to add value. And so what we're betting on, which will take a long time to find out, of course, long-term safety. Remember, Hodgkin lymphoma, it's curable cancer, but unfortunately, the same curative regimens can induce late toxic effects, including second cancers. Up to 20–30% of patients can have second cancers after 20 to 30 years from being cured. And the question is, are these new agents more safe in the long run? We think that immune therapy-based treatments should be safer, should not induce second cancer, should actually eliminate the emergence of new clones that may cause second cancer. These are educated bets, but I think reasonable bets, but time would tell.